Have you ever thought of living just next door to the nature? Oh, forgot to introduce myself. I'm Jason, your tutor, and we are going to talk about developing residential estates on country park land today. Before we go on, there are some facts about country park you must know. Let's take a guide tour and get to know about the country parks in Hong Kong. In Hong Kong, 40% of land are preserved as country park to protect reservoirs, nature conservation, and ground for recreational activities under the Country Park Ordinance. This lung of the city has made Hong Kong famous around the world. So why do we have to develop on our country parks? Nowadays, it has been hard to find land to build residential estates in Hong Kong. So where are we going to live in the future? To maintain a steady supply of flats, it's time for us to consider the development potential of country parks. To minimize the impact on nature environment, we should restrict our development in these three ways. Let's look at how this works out. Since the country park is protected by Cap 208, the first thing to do is to pass the amendments in the Legislative Council first. Then, we should carefully screen for a suitable site from the existing parks that is potential to be developed. And the following assessments have to be carried out in order to gather more information of the selected site. According to the information select, we also need to decide whether we should opt to high-intensity or low-intensity project. Last but not least, we need to seek approval from the Town Planning Board to change the land from country park to residential use. Now, let's see what we will possibly face when we are actually developing a country park with the example of Thailand Country Park. It is a site proposed by Mr. Lau Peng Chang, a former member of the Long-Term Housing Strategy Steering Committee. Located between Tsuen Wan and Tuen Mun, Thailand Country Park can be a link between these two areas. It is a 5,000 hectares land in Western New Territories, originally reserved for conserving the Thailand Chong Reservoir, which was built in 1951. In terms of geographical factors, the gradient is low there, which may make the construction work a lot easier. Plus, the ecological value at the rim of Thailand Country Park is relatively low. This can also be accompanied to the South County New Development Zone. It is a such good location, isn't it? In fact, building estates on country park does not necessarily bring harm to us. Here are some benefits we can get. Now, people live closer to the countryside, which allows them to live with the natural environment. It will be more convenient for them to enjoy the recreational activities too. Undoubtedly, an increase in housing supply can also be a response to the call from the society. Needless to say, the construction of residential projects will create many job opportunities for our society. Seeing so many advantages of developing country parkland, you may be thinking of building on them now. Do not get your head over heels and hold on for a second. There are still some challenges we have to cope with. First of all, the environmentalists will probably go against the proposal out of environmental concern. We need to keep the selection of land in a highly transparent manner and explain what we're going to be done to minimize the environmental impacts with supports of scientific facts. When we start to develop country park, it is also a challenge for us to safeguard its highly valuable counterparts. Once we turn a country park into a residential estate, will we turn greedy and destroy the land with high biodiversity worthlessly? To keep this precious treasure of Hong Kong for our next generation, we should think of what our bottom line is before we embark on our first piece of country park land. Up to now, we have learned that undoubtedly, country park land is very precious to Hong Kong in terms of ecological and recreational value. Some of them can actually become a desirable site for developing a residential estate. This is nothing ridiculous nor a taboo. We can achieve it through a 5 steps of land use rezoning, which are law amendment, site selection, site assessment, decision on development types, and lodging for approval respectively. Still, bear in mind that we should never compromise the welfare of our next generation, as well as environmental conservation for our own desire. The best way may probably be seeking a broad consensus in the society before undergoing any development projects. Thank you for watching.